This is Net News Network headline news for Tuesday, May 31st, 2022. President Biden on Monday took aim at 9mm handguns, appearing to suggest that high-caliber weapons ought to be banned. I can tell you from personal experience as a law enforcement officer that a 9mm handgun is not a high-caliber weapon. The president made the remarks outside the White House after returning from a visit to the site of a mass shooting in Texas where 21 people, including 19 elementary school children, were killed last week. Recounting a visit to a New York trauma hospital, Biden said doctors showed him x-rays of gunshot wounds. They said a .22 caliber bullet will lodge in the lung and we can probably get it out. Maybe be able to get it and save the life. A 9mm bullet blows the lung out of the body, Biden said. That is absolutely incorrect, and a .22 can be just as deadly as a 9mm. 9mm do not do that kind of damage, blowing organs out of somebody's body. He went on to say, so the idea of these high-caliber weapons is there's simply no rational basis for it in terms of self-protection, hunting, Biden added. Remember, the Constitution was never absolute. You couldn't buy a cannon when the Second Amendment was passed, Biden said. You couldn't go out and purchase a lot of weaponry. 9mm is not a cannon. The president, however, ruled out the possibility of issuing an executive order on guns, saying, I can't dictate this stuff. I can do the things I've done, and any executive action I can take, I'll continue to take, but I can't outlaw a weapon. I can't change a background check. I can't do that. Biden's comments were in line with his tough stance on guns during the 2020 presidential campaign. Speaking during a fundraising event in Seattle in November 2019, Biden said he supported the Second Amendment but called absolutist arguments about gun rights bizarre. Why should we allow people to have military-style weapons, including pistols with 9mm bullets, and can hold 10 or more rounds, he said. And they're coming for him soon, folks. They want those guns. And in good old Canada, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced Monday that his government is introducing legislation to implement national freeze on handgun ownership throughout the country. What this means is that it will no longer be possible to buy, sell, transfer, or import handguns anywhere in Canada, Trudeau said at a press conference. We recognize that the vast majority of gun owners use them safely and in accordance with the law, but other than using firearms for sport, shooting, and hunting, there is no reason anyone in Canada should need guns in their everyday lives. You don't need to protect yourself. Canadian Prime Minister of Public Safety Marco Mendicino also said that a mandatory buyback program for assault-style weapons will go into effect later this year if the bill passes, calling it Canada's most significant action on gun violence in a generation. The first AR-15s and other assault-style firearms will start to be bought back by the end of this year, Mendicino said. It's going to be hard, but we're going to get it done. About 55,000 new handguns have been registered annually in Canada per year over the last decade. The legislation will also create new red flag laws that will allow courts to remove guns and suspend licenses for people who pose a threat to themselves or others. Magazines that hold more than 5 rounds will also be banned under the new laws. Well, Canada, you better get it figured out before these laws go into effect. These governments want to disarm its populations. Even though the vast majority of Canadians follow the law, it doesn't matter, does it? Only criminals will have the weapons. And here's a story that seems to be more often all too common. A fire at a large commercial egg farm in Minnesota left thousands, more like hundreds of thousands, of chickens dead, officials confirmed over the Memorial Day weekend. Fire started late Saturday night at a Forsman Farms facility in Stockholm Township, Minnesota. Reports said the blaze occurred at a barn that houses manure and chickens. They estimated that there were likely 200,000 chickens in the barn when the fire occurred. Officials told the station they don't believe the fire was caused by criminal activity. They added that a state fire marshal is investigating. Meanwhile, the price of eggs is expected to rise as much as 21% by the end of this year, up from previous estimates of 6 to 7%, according to data released by the U.S. Department of Agriculture last week. An outbreak of avian influenza impacting chicken and other poultry farms has also caused a spike in prices. Recent fires at food processing plants across the United States have raised concerns about shortages, layoffs, and price increases. National Fire Protection Association has said that U.S. fire departments respond to an estimated average of 1,210 fires on warehouse properties every year. Nothing to see here, folks. It's all just coincidence. Changes to the United Nations 2005 International Health Regulations, the IHR, have been occurring under the radar because Americans would object to the unconstitutionality of the changes, according to Jonathan Alexander, a senior counsel for international litigation nonprofit Liberty Counsel. The Biden administration's proposed amendments to the IHR would further strengthen the World Health Organization's authority to declare public health emergencies and override U.S. governing bodies. They've done this undercover because they knew at any point if you were to tell Americans you're ceding the authority to an international body that is unaccountable to the people, if the media were to echo that message, certainly Americans would have no regard for this, Alexander said during a recent interview with NTD News Today. And we ought not to have any regard for this international body, the WHO, that is not accountable to us. The Biden administration proposed 13 amendments to the IHR that, if approved, would alter international public health rules, including expanding the powers given to the WHO Director General to declare a public health emergency, bypassing U.S. governmental bodies. Alexander said these amendments give the WHO, and specifically its Director General, the power to bypass, quote, any governmental authority within the United States, any accountability that these people have to elected individuals, and any authority that is ceded from the Constitution. Marinate on that for a while. And they're going to do this without any input from your elected officials, your representatives. After a 3-week operation involving multiple agencies, law enforcement officers managed to locate and recover 70 missing children, most of them in West Texas, according to a May 25th news release by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The missing children and teens, many of whom were runaways, ranged in age from 10 to 17 years old, and were victims of sex trafficking and physical and sexual abuse. Headed by Homeland Security Investigations El Paso and assisted by numerous other federal, state, and local agencies, Operation Lost Souls ran from the end of April through mid-May, El Paso, Texas, and the Texas counties of Midland, Ector, and Tom Green. Although a majority of the children were located in West Texas, a few were also recovered from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, state of Colorado, and Juarez, Mexico. Results of the operation were published on May 25th, which is National Missing Children's Day. The ICE announcement follows the capturing and charging of 8 individuals connected with the alleged trafficking and exploitation of a 15-year-old girl from a Dallas Mavericks game at the American Airlines Center Arena in Dallas on April 8th. The girl went missing after she separated from her father to use the bathroom. Later on, she was seen leaving the arena with an unknown man. A few days later, the Texas Counter-Trafficking Initiative found the girl's photos on a website associated with prostitution. She was rescued April 18th when authorities located her at an extended stay America Hotel in Oklahoma City. Upon her disappearance from the arena, the father of the girl was instructed to return back home. According to Texas law, in the absence of evidence of kidnapping, missing children are registered as runaways. Despite pleas from the father, the Dallas Police Department refused to open an investigation into the matter, according to Zeke Fortenberry, the family's attorney. Systems and organizations involved in this case continually failed the victim. She should have never had contact with the man at the Mavericks game. Due to the nature of the investigation, further information regarding the 70 recovered children has not been released. It's amazing that this doesn't get more attention in America when this many kids are being kidnapped and exploited. This has been Net News Network Headline News. For more, visit netnewsnetwork.net. Thanks for listening.